Hello, all of you gamers, professional and casual out there in the world. I am MegaAmpster. Thank you for clicking on this video. If you are new here, hey, welcome to the channel. Great to have you here. If you are a returning viewer, hey, always good to see you here. Thank you so much for all the continued support over time. I wanted to make this video. I wanted to make two separate videos originally, but like, I'm not the kind of channel that covers like individual news topics a lot unless they're like big. And especially because this one involves a bunch of rumors and like potentials and who knows what, grains of salt and all that thrown all over the place, like a whole mound of salt, because you can't take any of this 100% for the fact, you know? So I figured, you know what, let's lump it into one video and kind of talk about remasters and remakes and what we would all like to see from this, because I mean, over the years, we've gotten a lot of these. You know, this isn't anything new. You know, we've had, I think of like, for example, the Banjo, Kazooie, and Tooie XBLA versions. Those are what? When did those come out? 2009, 8, something like that, on 360 originally. So those have been around for a while. I mean, you could argue Sonic Adventure 2 Battle is it like a remaster of the Dreamcast port? You know what I mean? Same thing as Sonic Adventure DX, actually. There's a good one. Sonic Adventure DX even more so. Because the visuals are completely different in that game compared to the original Dreamcast release. So we've had these games, older games, been brought back, look better, play better. We've had this happen all the time. All the time. Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask 3D on 3DS, you know? Wind Waker HD, Twilight Princess HD, all of these. And obviously there's all the arguments about ports versus remasters versus remakes. That's not what this discussion is about. This discussion is about what we would like to see in terms of games that haven't been. This hasn't been done to yet, because we're in that era where, especially I think a lot of people are nostalgic for like early like 3D era of gaming, but not necessarily the first generation, not like N64, like to some degree for sure, you know, like we've seen with Crash Insane Trilogy and Spyro Reignited Trilogy, but also the Tony Hawk games, but also even the generation after that, so like Dreamcast, GameCube, OG Xbox, PS2, those kind of, that era of 3D games where it was like not the very beginning, but it was like almost like standardized at that point, you know, and like all these games looked clean. A lot of people are looking at that GameCube, the PS2, that Xbox library and saying, man, these are so nostalgic, it'd be great to bring them back. And we've seen that. We've been seeing that, you know. We got Mario Sunshine in the Mario 3D All-Stars collection. We just recently got Metroid Prime Remastered on the Nintendo Switch, obviously being one of the best GameCube games of all time. Wind Waker, Twilight Princess HD, one of these days, I'm telling you, one of these days we'll get it. And, you know, as we've seen from like the Nintendo Switch Online service, it really doesn't, from what I can tell, I don't think they're going to. It doesn't seem like we're going to be getting GameCube games on the NSO. I would just kind of crush that hope and dream, put it off to the side, because I think Nintendo sees that as too valuable for situations like this, where they can even just support, but also remaster it a bit, touch up some textures, some lighting, some animations and stuff, or even in some cases maybe remake it. Nintendo doesn't do a ton of remakes, is the thing. I mean, we've recently seen Resident Evil 4 remake, and apparently that game is so good, and I'm honestly kind of tempted as someone who hasn't played Resident Evil, I'm tempted to try it out. But like, that's a full-on remake. Final Fantasy VII remake, that was even completely different, right? And now we're in that era of where people are willing to buy these older games remastered, even just ported, but remade, depending on the situation, on newer hardware, which is always great for game preservation, also because it makes these games even more fun to play. You know what I mean? Most of these scenarios, the game is not worse as a result. There have been some ports that are iffy. I know originally, like the Chrono Trigger PC port was not great. Chrono Cross, I heard also on Switch was a little iffy. So it depends on how well of a job that the developer is, whoever ports it over, brings it up to modern standards, whoever does that. It depends on the work that they put in, right? But we're in that era where this is really becoming a big thing. So there are a couple rumors here, and these rumors have always been around in the background, but they've really started to come up again as of late, and I think a big part of it, by the way, these are probably both going to be Switch games, if I had to guess. One of them could be multi-plat, one of them obviously is only going to be Switch. But I think especially because with the Nintendo Switch, we are in an era where they're doing a lot of remasters and remakes. I mean, we're seeing Advance Wars being brought back, both older games, Metroid Prime Remastered, Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe. We're seeing all these games kind of come back in some way, shape, or form. People are thinking we're going to get Prime 2 and 3. I don't know for sure. But, like, we're in that era where, okay, like, Tears of the Kingdom we have coming out, Pikmin 4 we have coming out. What other new games, besides maybe Metroid Prime 4, if that's even coming out on the current Switch, are we still expecting for this current Switch? You know, we just started the 7th year of the Switch's lifespan. how much longer is this generation going to go? Because the way that Nintendo's framing it at the moment, it's making it seem like, okay, they might be winding down and kind of touching up and re-releasing these older titles on the Switch. Like, we could see, I'm honestly thinking that we're going to see Twilight Princess Wind Waker HD, like, either holiday this year or, like, early next year or something outside of Tears of the Kingdom. I think they're going to come, and I think Nintendo maybe has been holding on to them for this particular moment post Tears of the Kingdom, post Pikmin 4. Because that's what it feels like. A lot of the games we've been seeing, it seems like they're kind of winding down on their main production, and that some of their main production teams are shifting over to whatever's the next thing past the Switch, whether it's a more upgraded Switch or not. But that's at least what the general vibe seems to be right now. So, of course, these rumors have been ramping up again, and this one in particular has been around forever, and I don't know. I don't think either of these are necessarily likely, but, like, if I had to go with one being more likely than the other, I would say this one. This one being F-Zero GX, supposedly, is getting remastered. Remember, grain of salt, these are all rumors, right? This would be great, because we've learned from Miyamoto in previous interviews where, they've been asked, why was there no F-Zero after GX in the Game Boy Advance games? There was the throwaway thing in Nintendo Land on Wii U, sure. But, like, with an actual proper F-Zero game, why has there not been a new one? And Miyamoto specifically has mentioned that they want some new gimmick to be involved with a new F-Zero, which, like, first of all, I personally don't agree with. Like, you could just have a really fast-paced high racer with new visuals and it'd be great. But it also makes me think that, okay, well, if they're not going to make a new game, why not bring back an old one that is absolutely loved by a lot of people that would look great in the modern era, and maybe even add online? I mean, Nintendo online can be iffy, sure, but I think this would be a really good shot for F-Zero to come back. I think out of anything F-Zero related, this is the most likely thing to happen to the franchise, is that we're going to get a remaster of this game. Online would be awesome. Like I said, I don't know if Nintendo's going to do that, knowing them, and with Kirby recently, maybe not, but it would be really cool if they did. And supposedly the rumor now is that Next Level Games, who developed Luigi's Mansion 3 and Mario Strikers Battle League, will be working on it, which is kind of interesting because I believe the original release of F-Zero GX, Sega, I believe, collaborated with Nintendo to make that game. From what I know, Next Level Games was not involved, but I'm also not super sure. And a lot of people are like, oh, well, maybe they'll be working on the next sports game instead. But, I mean, like I said, if, they're trying to kind of push the current Switch out and bring in the new Switch eventually, like late this year or next year, then maybe they wouldn't be working on another Mario sports game. Maybe Mario Strikers was the last sports game they're working on for the current Switch. It's always possible. It's also possible they could work on Luigi's Mansion 4. So that's kind of the thing. Come in contact with people. The outlet. They're not specifying the outlet, which is interesting. This is from Insider Gaming, by the way. Something we previously reported on from other people, including our sources. So yeah, this has been reported on forever. It could just be copium. It literally just could be. But yeah, it was the last main console release 20 years ago. So hey, not that Nintendo really cares about anniversaries, but if they wanted to do a 20th anniversary for this, that would be pretty cool. I'm just saying. Featured up to 30 racers in a single race. Imagine you have 30 racers online in a single race. Imagine. It's a little bit of hoping too much, I think. Of course, Nintendo declined. This is something that, like, yes, I would love to see. I would buy this. I think this would give F-Zero a better shot and bring it back into the limelight in some way. I mean, the Switch has the largest user base besides, like the Wii. I mean, even in some cases, it might even be larger than the Wii. You know what I mean? So this definitely wouldn't be a game for, like, the casual audience. It would be for more the hardcore audience for this. Because this game is tough. I've played a little bit of it. It's brutally tough. But it'd be awesome to see, Like I said, take this all with a grain of salt. I would love to see this. This is one I am definitely here for. It's not also mentioned here. There haven't been like rumors or anything, but Star Fox Assault also. They want to bring Star Fox back. Assault would be a great game to remaster. I doubt they would remake it, but just like, yeah, literally bring the same game. Maybe make it, give it HD textures and everything. Add some online, and literally you're good. And I think that would solve a bit of Miyamoto's, F-Zero unique gimmick problem, because it's just bringing back an old game. So many people have forgotten F-Zero. It would be bringing back an old game that already exists, and honestly would be fresh to a lot of people if they tried it out. This game has a shot on the current Switch user base, so it'd be really cool to see it bring it back. The other one that I am personally more excited for, that, especially as a SEGA fan, that I think is less likely, but I would love to see, is Skies of Arcadia. The reason why this is such a big deal, keep in mind, I'm not a big RPG player, but the reason why this is such a big deal is because this game was only released on the Dreamcast and the GameCube, and both versions are ridiculously expensive. We're talking like hundreds of dollars. It is really expensive to get this game. I love Sega's franchises. I'm a sucker for Sega. I loved playing as Vice in Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transformed. And I would totally, this is an RPG I would totally be willing to try out, especially because it is from Sega. I mean, that's kind of the main thing. I'm not going to lie. Like, Phantasy Star, I wouldn't have tried Phantasy Star if it wasn't for Sega, but I loved Phantasy Star 4, and that's a traditional turn-based RPG, and that's one of my favorites that I've tried, you know? So this would be awesome to see. I love, like, it seems like there's a lot of character and effort put into the world here. But supposedly, according to the Xbox Era podcast, who's on this? Who is this? I don't even know who this is. Apparently it's in the works. This is something that people have been hoping for years now. Initially released in 2000. It's even older than F-Zero GX there. And it would just be super cool. I love like the Sky Pirate theme, JRPG elements with turn-based combat. So that's kind of the main thing, is the turn-based combat. Obviously in this day and age is a little iffy. Like we see what's happening with Final Fantasy 16, right? They literally, Yoshi P and the team literally said they're making it action-based so that they could try to sell more copies, right? Because of the production costs and because they want to appeal to a wider audience, you know? So that's the issue with a turn-based RPG in today's day and age. It's not like they don't sell, but it depends. I think an older game like this has like an older remaster like this has a better chance of selling if it's turn-based, you know? Did happen to come across an image from the apparent remaster. Really? But we've yet to 100% confirm its legitimacy. Is that it? Very strange image. Okay. Okay, interesting. I mean, it's hard to tell for sure. This one, I wonder if this one... So the game switched to Sega, comment on the report. Yeah, so literally, it's all rumors, right? It's all rumors. These remasters and remakes are at this point. Until they're announced, they're all just rumors. But this one would be awesome. This would be really cool. I would love to see this. If anything, I would imagine it would hopefully launch in a better state, but be somewhat along the lines of like Chrono Cross was on Switch last year. But this would be an awesome one. I would love to see this. Just to actually be able to try it. I don't want to spend hundreds of dollars on this game to buy it on the Dreamcast or the PS2. I'm tempted for the Dreamcast version just because I'm kind of like interested in maybe collecting some of those games, but not for that price. You know what I mean? And I would love to check it out. I've heard great things about this game and the world and the characters and the story, and I would love to be able to actually check it out, you know? So hopefully, I mean, out of the two of these, I would prefer this one to be true, but I think it's less likely. I want them both to be there. But before we wrap up this video, just want to open the window and the invitation for any of you to let me know in the comments below what games you would like to see be remastered. Personally, I have some other choices I would like to see. I've heard of Simpsons Hit and Run. That would be kind of cool, you know. I've heard the main producer on that game wants that to be remastered. That's a whole licensing thing, so we'll see. Personally, and this is a deep cut, I would give me Croc. Give me Croc 2. Give me a Croc remastered collection along the lines of, you know, Spyro and Crash. Maybe not even to that degree, because that's asking for a lot. The only thing is, I don't know. Argonaut might have gone under, so I don't know who owns the rights to Croc, if at all. So that would be an interesting one. Of course, Sonic Adventure 1 and 2. Those are like the big ones for me that like... It's made so much sense for so long. And yes, we had the HD re-releases on like the Xbox 360 and Steam and everything during that time, but like imagine like a proper, I mean, I would love a remake, but I don't think Sega would put that much effort into it. Just touch it up a little bit, re-release it in a collection, a Sonic Adventure collection, and we'd be good. You know, I would absolutely love to see that. That's like the big one that I think would be great to see. Mega Man Legends, the Legends games, even just a collection, remastered collection. That would be awesome. That would be great. You know, after, obviously we have Battle Network coming out soon. Legends next. That would be so good. There's so many different games. There's so many games you could pull from, right? There's so many. Here's a deep cut. Chibi Robo. Bring Chibi Robo back. You know what I mean? This is like I said, the main purpose of this video is just to speculate, just to have fun. None of this is confirmed. Probably none of this is going to happen, but it's just fun to talk about it. So let me know in the comments below what games you would like to see be remastered or remade. You know, if there's any in particular. Let me know what you think about these two rumors specifically. Do you think these are likely? I don't think they're likely. I think both would be cool, of course. But I think F-Zero GX is probably more likely than Skies of Arcadia. But hey, if the other happens, I'm totally fine with that. But with that, thank you so much for watching. Always appreciate the support. And hey, I will catch you all on the next video or live stream. Until then, keep gaming.